How you doing? Jean-Paul here. So today I wanted to reflect on a topic that is actually very much needed right now in this world, because I still feel many of us, we're still a little bit underdeveloped regarding this topic. And recently I had a very good conversation with someone, very direct, and actually that made me aware about something, and that's why I wanted to share my insights about this topic. And that has all to do with, what is the number one strength you got to build up, the muscle you got to build up regarding to emotional intelligence in order to improve your level of empathy and also increase your sensitivity and be able to create stronger connections, to be able to establish a level of rapport and trust, being able to influence people. This could be meaning for many different ways, whether it be in your job, in your career, or maybe in business, or maybe you're in sales, or maybe it's for your personal relationships, anything like that. So this is something that is very much needed, and I feel it's still a little bit underdeveloped, and especially we as empaths, we are already a little bit more empathetic. That's really our core strength. Of course, every core strength also comes with its setbacks and weaknesses as well. And when I say about weaknesses, this is something that is very important, which we need to have a look at as well, because that can actually help us to establish that trust and influence. So empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is being able to, see yourself from the eyes of someone else, right? Is to be able to fine-tune into their emotions, their point of views, their beliefs, their thought process, and how they look at the world. Now, as empaths, we have already this level of sensitivity to be able to emotional fine-tune to someone else. Now, that may sound great, especially in the role of being a coach and healer, a therapist, or maybe in the role of business, entrepreneurship, marketing, sales as well, because it's all about communication, right? Especially in the world of sales, it's all about, building a bridge of where someone is at and where you want them to be. And you as the communicator has to build that bridge, has to build the gap of, they do not like you, they do not know you, they do not trust you. How do you build this bridge of trust and influence so you can get them where you want them to be? Of course, in their own best interest, but you gotta help them to let them see what they currently cannot see. Now, here's the thing. In order to be able to fine-tune into someone's emotional states, first of all, they need to be able and they need to be allowing you to do so. I mean, imagine if you are like an intuitive, sensitive, an empathetic individual, and you're basically, you're constantly fine-tuning into someone's emotional state. What if their emotional state is like very crap, very negative? They're full with shame, fear, and guilt, anxiety. How exhausting and how draining that must be for you. So of course we have like barriers, right? We have barriers. Everybody has barriers. I mean, like it or not, we are emotional beings. Even though we want to be rational, we want to be pragmatic, we want to be logical, because that can give us a sense of safety, security, and comfort, and that gives us boundaries, right? It keeps us in our level of comfort. But like it or not, we are emotional beings. So it's very important is that they allow you to be able to meet them where they are at. Now the thing is, we all have barriers. We have created a mask, a personal identity that keeps us safe, secure, and whatnot. And that is really our coping mechanism, how we stand in the world and how we think we must see ourselves and how we feel and how we think others should perceive us. But that identity is not always in a line with who we truly are at a deeper core level. That's why I always say it's so important, to align yourself with your true inner self, your true authentic self. Now, if as an influential person, you want to help them to see who they are not and who they really are, by providing them a solution, it is your role, kind of, if they want it, if they ask for your help and advice, as an empath, it's kind of your role to let them see what their barriers are, what the walls they are hiding behind are, what are these masks that keep them safe and secure. And really the number one thing to do that is to be able to be vulnerable yourself first. Now this is a very nasty thing most of us do not really want to hear, because that's really scares the crap out of us. Because we do not really want to look at our own weaknesses, our own, failures or setbacks, or, our own negativities, or whatever you want to call it. The thing is, you have been through a path through life, right? You have overcome certain type of challenges, certain type of setbacks, certain type of failures, and you have guided yourself into a position that could be like in a sense of inspiration or uplifting to someone else. You could be, let's say, quote unquote, a light beacon for someone else, a lighthouse for someone else. But they are there, and they still have all these barriers to overcome. And they want to be at a similar spot as where you at. Mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, whatever. So for you, it's really a challenge to show them what you had to overcome. And is to really show you what were your weaknesses that you had to become aware of, that you had to deal with, that perhaps they could relate to that as well. Because the thing is, most of us, we do not really want to look inside ourselves to see what our weaknesses or pain points are. But if you could meet them in the middle and show them the pain points you had to overcome, then what will happen is they start to relate. They start to relate with you. And that's really the first step in building trust, is to building influence, because they're going closer to the middle of the bridge. And that's where you meet them, at the middle of the bridge. So to really open up emotionally to someone, show that you are not perfect at all. Nobody's perfect, I'm not perfect, I have my own weaknesses and whatnot. I mean, empathy might be a strength, but at the same time, being hypersensitive can also be, a burden sometimes if you have to deal with stressful situations, which can deplete our batteries and whatnot. I mean, I made other videos about that, have a look at highly sensitivity and being a high sensation seeker. But being able to show your own weaknesses and how you have turned that into strength, how you have done that, but still being able right now, still being able to look at your current weaknesses, look at that, become aware of that, you can always create an opportunity to turn these weaknesses into strength. And that's why it's not only showing where you have been, but also being able to have a look at where you're currently at, because that can help you to move where you want to go. So vulnerability is the backbone we must build in order to improve our level of empathy, which is very much needed right now in this world, because most of us, we don't empathize. Most of us, we are basically like pushing our own agendas to the world because of our egocentric needs and wants and what we think we must create and achieve and whatnot. And many of us, we are basically using each other in order to get where our ego thinks we must go. Another thing is, like, we don't really communicate in conversations. We are only becoming silent because we are just waiting for our turn to speak again, but we don't really listen to what the other has to say. We're just busy here in our own heads, and we are not present in what is currently going on, which is a very big thing as well. We learn to become present and being able to listen and come from a sense of inner calm and peace and staying grounded. You can really you will be able to find you much deeper into the other person's psyche. So we must learn to get our own head, get our own minds, and learn to silence our own self, and don't use conversations as a way to be quiet and wait for our turn to speak again. So that's really just like a couple of tips I wanted to share with you in this video. Please let me know your thoughts. What do you think? What do you think about being vulnerable? Do you have the inner strength in order to practice this? Do you have the inner strength to develop this, or is this something you should be having a look at if you wanna, be able to improve this and develop this even much further into your personal relationships, your business, career, whatnot? Please let me know. Simply drop a comment below, and I look forward to see you on my next videos. Take care for now. Bye bye.